"Your Honor, if you let my daddy go, I'll help you walk again." The words came from a girl no taller than the bench she stood behind, her voice soft but unwavering. The courtroom, bustling just moments before, fell into a silence so deep, you could hear hearts breaking. 8-year-old Maya Turner stood alone, barefoot, in a faded pink dress, before the judge, defending the only person she had left in the world. Her father, James Turner, sat in an orange jumpsuit, eyes red-rimmed, wrists cuffed, face trembling. A war veteran, single dad, and former mechanic, James had been arrested 2 months prior for stealing medical supplies from a hospital. But what the court hadn't been told, at least, not until now, was why. The hook. The judge, Alan Prescott, a stern and accomplished man who once ran marathons before a car accident left him paralyzed, stared down at the girl. He was known for his strict interpretations of the law. Emotions didn't sway him, only facts. But now, Maya's small figure, clutching a tattered notebook, stood between him and the gavel. "Maya," he said gently, "you understand your father broke the law?" "Yes, sir." "But he didn't do it for himself," she replied, lifting her chin. "He did it for me." The story unfolds. James had lost everything after returning from Afghanistan, his wife to cancer, his savings to bills, and finally his job to budget cuts. But he still had Maya. And Maya had congenital muscular dystrophy, a cruel condition that slowly stole her strength, trapping her in a wheelchair. When her condition worsened and her meds ran out, James begged for help. He was denied, over and over. One night, desperate and terrified, he broke into the hospital pharmacy, not to sell drugs, not to get high, but to save his daughter's life. He was caught before he could leave. No violence. No theft beyond the medicine. But the law is the law. And now, Maya stood before it, asking for mercy. A child's promise. "I've been working on something," Maya said. She opened her notebook, revealing messy sketches and scribbled notes. "It's a machine. For people like you, people who can't walk." She pointed at a crude drawing, metal braces, wires, motors. "I know it's not finished, but it's real. I've been watching videos, reading science books at the library. My dad helps me every night, even when he's tired. Even when he cries after he thinks I'm asleep." Judge Prescott blinked, and something shifted behind his eyes. "I call it the Walker Buddy. It's for you, Your Honor." A whisper ran through the courtroom. "You help me get my daddy back, and I'll make you walk again. I promise." The moment of truth. Silence hung heavy. The prosecutor shuffled his papers awkwardly. The defense attorney wiped away a tear. And Judge Prescott, he didn't speak. He looked at Maya, at her shaking hands and steel resolve, then at James, who now openly wept into his cuffed hands. Then, something incredible happened. The judge set down his gavel. "Court will take a 15-minute recess," he said. "Miss Turner, would you join me in chambers?" Behind closed doors. No one knows exactly what was said behind those doors. But when Judge Prescott returned, his eyes were red-rimmed. He cleared his throat. "In light of new mitigating testimony and the unique circumstances surrounding this case, I am sentencing Mr. James Turner to time served, with the remainder of his sentence to be carried out through community service, alongside his daughter, if she'll allow it." Gasps. Then silence. And then Maya screamed, not in fear, but joy. "Thank you," she shouted, as James was uncuffed and rushed to her side. A new beginning. Months passed. Maya and James didn't waste a second. They built prototypes in their garage. They crowdfunded online. Engineers reached out. Scientists offered support. And Judge Prescott? He became their first volunteer tester. The first time he took a step, clumsily, shakily, but standing, he wasn't the only one crying. Maya was right there, beaming in her own wheelchair, whispering, "Told you I'd help you walk." The story went viral. Donations poured in. What started as a desperate plea became a national movement, Project Walker Buddy, giving hope to thousands with spinal injuries, veterans, children, and the elderly. Years later, at a packed auditorium in Washington, Maya stood on stage in a crisp blazer, now 14, her voice more confident but just as kind. "We don't always get to choose what happens to us," she said, looking at her father, then at Judge Prescott, standing with the help of her invention. "But we do get to choose what we do with our pain. My daddy chose to fight for me. I chose to fight for all of you." She held up a new version of the Walker Buddy. "And together, we walk. Kindness isn't weakness. It's the strongest force in the world. It saves fathers. It moves judges. And sometimes, it even makes the broken walk again."